From the recent Hajime no Ippo chapter, it has been confirmed that Miyata has been chosen as a sparring partner for Ricardo Martinez in preparation for his world title defense against Sendo, whom he will fight in 2 weeks in story time. However, things got a little more complicated when Sendo had an emergency involving saving his grandma, and it's basically confirmed that Ippo will spar with Ricardo Martinez again. This spar is going to shape the overall narrative for the future of all the main characters in the arc, Sendo, Ricardo Martinez, Miyata and Ippo himself, determining who will fight next and what their goals will be moving forward. But most importantly, for Ippo, this might be the biggest catalyst for his return to boxing. The events leading up to the spar indicate a major turning point in Ippo's boxing career. Ippo is currently in a tight spot, having had some of the most important conversations with other characters post-retirement. Mashiba recently had this lightweight world title fight against the notorious cheater Marcus Rosario. Rosario didn't prepare for this fight at all because he was in jail and just wanted to get it over with as soon as possible. However, Mashiba humbled Rosario by forcing him to take it seriously. But then Rosario turned Super Saiyan and cheated for 2 rounds straight. Everyone in the crowd despised Rosario for his actions, including Ippo, Miyata and Sendo, who were watching it live. But with Mashiba sticking to honest boxing, he managed to push Rosario to take the fight seriously. Rosario even recognized that Mashiba is a true boxer and promised himself he will train and take boxing seriously. However, Mashiba also took a lot of damage to his head and spine. In the decisive punch, Mashiba missed Rosario by a few millimeters and suddenly collapsed to the mat. He was stretched out of the arena and ultimately lost the fight. Ippo was sitting next to Kumi throughout the fight and she was too shocked to respond to anything. Sendo got rightfully upset that a dishonest boxer won and Mashiba lost, but Miyata just stared at the ring, keeping his eyes on Rosario. Before the fight even started, Miyata had analyzed Rosario to death, leading Sendo to sarcastically ask why Miyata doesn't just fight him. Miyata remained silent. The stare down, if you want to call it that, is basically teasing that Miyata is going to move up 2 weight classes to challenge Marcus Rosario for the world title. Miyata has only one goal in mind, becoming a world champion to prove that his father's style of boxing works, and also fighting Ippo in the ring. But with Mashiba losing to a fraud world champion, it may have sparked a sense of justice inside of him, evident by the way he just looks at Rosario. Rosario even mentioned multiple times that he has to return to Japan to make up for his dishonest way of fighting and give his best, meaning he will be reintroduced stronger than ever to fight an upcoming challenger. Meanwhile, Mashiba was hospitalized without Ippo getting to see him, but Aoki leaked where Mashiba might be since his girlfriend Tomiko is also a nurse. When Ippo arrived at the hospital, he, alongside us, the readers, learned that Mashiba has injuries to his spine and brain and is in a coma, instantly making it the worst fate any boxer in the series has experienced, besides Anderson, who might have died thanks to Komogawa's Iron Fist, and maybe Wally since he's gone blind from his fight against Ricardo Martinez. But what Mashiba is currently going through is much worse. He's now fighting for his life to survive. Ippo wanted to be there for Kumi during this tragic moment, but Tomiko refused to let Ippo see her, since Kumi's only relative is now in this state because of boxing. Whenever she sees Ippo, she will see the personification of boxing itself, where Ippo's entire personality is him being all about boxing. That day when it was heavily raining, Ippo was having a deep conversation with Coach Kamogawa, where he admitted that he just wanted Mashiba to win no matter what, while Kumi was too concerned about her big brother's safety to think about anything else. Ippo was in a dilemma since he's both her second and coach himself. He doesn't know if he really wants the students to fight for their lives and push themselves beyond their limits to win a title. Kamogawa responds that as a coach, the top priority is making sure that their boxers return home safely after any fight. But at the same time, fighting beyond one's capacity is the ultimate goal for any boxer, and then to go even beyond that. So there's no definite answer to the question from anyone, and all they can do is now pray that Mashiba makes it out alive. This ties into what Takamura always says about losing your sanity to become a monster in the world of boxing. He believes that boxers like Ippo aren't cut out for the world stage because they lack the will to abandon everything to reach the top, including relationships that need to be severed and even their own health and well-being. Takamura is obviously a monster, going against all societal standards, cutting ties with his family and being completely fine with his friends leaving him. Kamogawa even admitted that Takamura would have become a world champion in any other gym, and that his own teachings had little effect on him. Walk is another boxer who had to abandon everything, his country, his friends, and even lost his mother, all to become a world champion. While Ippo and Kamogawa were having this deep talk, talk, Sendo was out on his road work. When he returned home, he was shocked to find his granny collapsed on the floor. Meanwhile, Miyata was informed that Martinez had picked him up as a sparring partner alongside 2 other boxers he brought to Japan in preparation for his fight against Sendo. Miyata called Ippo to ask if Sendo was okay since he had been dead quiet for a few days, unaware that Sendo was in a hospital supporting his granny as she is fighting for her life. Miyata then talked with Ippo and mentioned that Martinez would be arriving soon for his title defense against Sendo, so Miyata would have to spar with him. Ippo was surprised to hear that and wondered what Miyata's strategy will be, to which Miyata said that he will try to smash Ricardo to see if he could find an opening so Sendo could use his anti-Martinez smash strategy he cooked up. Both had a great time talking to one another, but when it was time to hang up, Ippo quickly mentioned that he himself came up with a strategy against Ricardo Martinez. Miyata just hung up the phone and questioned why Ippo was still talking like he's an active boxer. Ippo even questioned himself as to why he thought about it and recalled the conversation he had with Tomiko, that he is just a personification of boxing. And when the rain stopped, Ricardo landed in Japan ready to spar. Now we know that Ippo has prepared a strategy against Martinez beforehand without telling anyone, and he didn't really need to. Martinez will probably have the toughest fight of his career against Sendo, so he prepared extensively for the fight, even postponing it to fight Wally first, to understand the nature of a wild boxer before facing someone as wild as Sendo. This fight will also be the most important fight in Sendo's life. He trained every day alongside Miyata and perfected his anti-Martinez strategy, but right now he has to look after his granny. What if Ippo's sparring strategy is for him to figure out what kind of smash he could use to catch Martinez off guard? But since Miyata didn't listen to his advice and there's obviously no one strong enough in Japan to keep up with Martinez, Ippo himself will have to spar with him. Think about it, ever since Ippo retired, he has sparred with almost every important character he fought in the past. And since he sparred with Martinez back when he first won the Japanese title, where he himself admitted that Martinez completely destroyed the Dempsey roll, he could now use the evolved version of the new Dempsey roll, since it is something like an upgraded version of the smash Sendo uses. And if the strategy actually works, Ippo could see the potential that he might actually have a chance against the super champion. Honestly, this chapter really shows that Ippo is still thinking like an active boxer. He's saying that he has a strategy, analyzing fights and making plans, but mentally he still sees himself as retired. What the spar will lead up to, with all 4 main characters going through their own struggles, is the realization that you have to make sacrifices to achieve greatness. Mashiba, in his fight against Rosario, was at the point of becoming a monster, but let go of that side to remain an honest boxer. Sendo's granny is in a bad state right now, and with his fight against Ricardo coming up, he has to make the sacrifice to either leave her side and focus on Martinez or stay with her. Miyata's dream was always to fight Ippo, but by forcing himself to stay in the featherweight division when he could fight a dishonest world champion in his ideal weight class, he has to let go of the idea that Ippo will return and move on. And Ippo? He has to realize that there is a big cost to becoming a world champion. He will have to eventually say goodbye to his relationships and sacrifice part of himself if he truly wants to return. Because, like I said, he's acting like an active boxer, but he needs the right mindset to make a comeback. I believe the spar with Martinez will be the wake-up call that pushes Ippo to finally realize what he truly wants. I would like to thank Sendo for being an awesome member and supporting this channel. If you've enjoyed this video, then please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more Hajime no Ippo content. I'm the Reading Pro, and thanks for watching.